Gates locked. Zoo horror. I used to think zoos at night were just machines taking turns. Filters whispering, freezers humming. Red exit signs patient as cats. I'm 25, night operations at the city zoo. Check chillers, watch cameras, reset breakers, and never step inside an enclosure. Extra rules from my supervisor. Margot, don't answer animal mimicry. Some birds are mean about it. Don't go into the service tunnels alone. And if the security panel offers an after-hours override, tell it no. She laughed when she said it. The laugh didn't stick. By 10:56 p.m., I'd made rounds through the commissary and the reptile house. The wristband kiosk by the front gate coughed out a receipt, even though no scanner beeped. It spat a second, thinner strip with no logo, no total, just do not open gates. Along the edge in ghost gray, not matching the hour. 3:13 a.m. I stuck the strip to my radio because paper makes rules heavy. The first odd sound was polite. 2 knuckles. Tapped the acrylic of the small cat window. Measured, not claw, not settlement pop. I raised my flashlight and got my reflection a half beat late, with a second head of fruit over my shoulder, in the glass, tilted toward my ear, mouth, parted, like it had reached the first half of a dawn 2. I blinked until it was only me and a sleeping ocelot pretending to be a rock. At 11:03, the blackout happened like a stage trick that forgot to warn applause. Every bulb died. The night stayed exactly itself. A breath later, the emergency lights woke and put a red outline around the world. The pumps fell quiet. The generators didn't catch. The PA clicked, and a careful voice came out slow, like each word was lowered into place by 2 fingers. Don't open. Not Margot, not a keeper. The museum voice cities save for bones. The access controller tablet in the security office woke to a card ID never seen. Release perimeter gates, emergency, double tap to confirm. 2 tiny hearts pulsed like a dare. I hit cancel. The card slid to the corner and pretended it had always lived there. My phone vibrated in my pocket where it shouldn't be. Unknown. Confirm habitat. Unlock 313. The tiny map dot sat inside the primate's building. Then, behind, my shoulder. Then, under it. Double tap to confirm. With those small hearts trying romance on policy, I set the phone face down on the console. It still warmed like an animal. I did the brave thing that isn't work. Checked the chiller room by flashlight. The rotifers in the filter columns looked like glitter that had made a covenant with circles. In the aquarium tunnel, the shark tank, glass unfogged, a perfect palm. From the droppers or inside, 5 ovals and a heel. And orc slid, a patient inch before thinning. Shark breath is not a thing, I told the sign that says, please don't tap. Up, tap, tap. Traveled down the glass anyway. Measured, left to right. Then answered itself from the jelly cylinder behind me. I held very still and felt the tunnel lights try and fail to be helpful. The generators decided to have a meeting. Aligned. Hum rose through the floor. One long note of switchgear and diesel that set my teeth to counting. In that held chord, the maglock on the primate night door shivered against its keeper like a sleeper scratching and settled. My radio hissed. A voice wearing my mouth said, I'm here. Half a breath off. The PA answered on top of it, careful. Leave. Them. Locked. I wrote, quiet night, in the log because supervisors like to see that lie spelled correctly. The letters looked wet longer than ink should. In the aviary, something tried a po whistle, 2 clean notes, the right pitch for a keeper. S call, a beat late like practice. A toucan rotated an eye at me that said it didn't vote for this. The emergency exit by the netting sofa fogged high in a palm plus la shape and slid down. The inside of the Lexan, like gravity, had learned manners. At 11:37, the tablet flashed another card. Quarantine barn, override latch, 313. The hearts pulsed. The barn holds arrivals who aren't ready to meet the neighborhood. I killed the screen with my knuckle. It took a breath and obeyed. The big cat house has windows that turn you into glass. In one pane, for a single frame, a head leaned near my left ear, mouth parted. And don't. The next frame offered only my bad haircut and a leopard asleep under a heat lamp like a coin. A cold draft walked out of the service tunnel hatch. The sign on it says, authorized staff. Only like that's a personality test. The hatch ticked against its frame as if a knuckle had learned manners. The PA breathed, don't go down. I set my palm on the steel from the other side. Pressure matched. Not pushy, just there, like a hand through a door agreeing on rules. At 11:49, the primates building did the wrong thing. A gibbon sang the start of a morning call and stopped. The corridor lights blinked. 313 on the panel and remembered. 11:49, like a story told better the second time. The wristband kiosk by the gift shop printed another thin strip into the dark and waited for me to fetch it. Keep the latches down. The edge was damp as if letters had sweated. The aquarium return pump coughed itself on. The generators gave up, pretending to be shy, and handed the zoo back to electricity. The whole place aligned again. Diesels, chillers, filters. The fan in the insect house. And let go. The security tablet woke as if from a nightmare it wanted me to name. Confirm perimeter release. Double tap to confirm. The hearts kept good time. I walked the cat row and listened to sleep. A lion huffed a dismissal to whatever was rehearsing. In the last window, the dew on the inside of the glass rose into a palm, a thumb width higher than any animal. S-breath and overslidmin, a polite inch before remembering itself. I put my own hand to the glass, through safety layers, and cold, pressure matched. Me, gentle. I took my hand back, in the slow way you offer only to doors. My phone lit with a photo from unknown. The perimeter gate from 20 feet up, my shoulders small below. The gate panel showing 313, where volts should be. Caption, double tap to confirm. I pressed the power button until the screen chose mercy. At 12:06, the commissary freezers, meat for things with opinions, clicked and hummed back to their temperature. The receipt printer by the diet scale coughed out a last strip. Edges wet, don't acknowledge calls. In the cages across the aisle, the rats used for training flicked ears at a silence that didn't belong to them. A keeper on days texted, all good? I typed, mostly horror. The timestamp flicked 3 turn and blushed back to real time. She answered, printer's old, which is the manager's absolution for nights that need translations. At 12:23, the quarantine barn door thumped. Once like a heartbeat remembering business hours, the bolt lever nudged a hair toward open and thought better of it on the steel. Tap, tap, measured. The PA offered a bedtime rule. Leave. The Blackout gates. Locked. I set my palm on the lever. From the other side, a palm matched pressure for pressure. Not urgent, just an agreement through my metal. In the reptile house, the Burmese python blinked in the lazy way snakes do everything. The heat glass over its basking rock fogged a palm that slid and thinned. I don't know what you call the hand of a thing that has never had one. The service tunnel hatch breathed a cooler breath and tried to be a whistle. 2 notes, right pitch, half a beat late. I did not go down. At 12:41, all the status panels across the grounds blinked in a wave that didn't spell a word and looked like Don Tiot anyway. The generators, the pumps, the fans, aligned into one note that made the animals reconsider sleep. In that held chord, the perimeter gate's motor kissed its brake and stayed loyal. I made one last pass by the small cat window. In the acrylic, I saw my reflection, and, for a frame, a head, behind mine, mouth, parted, on don't. The ocelot opened one eye and closed it like we'd reached agreement. I printed a sign because signs are spells. After dark, do not operate gates without supervisor. I taped it under the tablet. The tape breathed like a small lung and held. At 3:13, because some hours apply for hard jobs, every emergency light blinked once and held. The zoo took one long aligned breath, diesel, pump, fan, rib, and exhaled. The tablet cleared its feral cards and remembered only checklists. The PA gave me its last kindness in the careful weight it had borrowed. Keep the gates locked. The maglocks cooled under my hand like a fever forgiven. Dawn gave the lions back their confidence. Margot walked in at 6 with coffee and the stance of a person who could wrestle a day and win. Quiet? She asked. Mostly, I said, and slid her the damp strips. She frowned. Do not open gates. Like it was a regulation she would argue with even if it were right. Printer's old, she decided. The supervisor spell for mercy. She wrapped a gate panel with 2 knuckles and listened like a doctor. We'll audit the overrides at noon, she said. If the system invented buttons, we'll uninvent them. I took more day shifts after that and tell people it S for the sun on the aviary net. Some weeks around 3:13, my apartment radiator knocks twice, like a patient paw, and the bathroom mirror fogs a thumb width higher than I can reach, while a palm clears a coin and slides a polite inch. My phone lights with unknown, confirm release, and 2 tiny hearts that wait nicely. When it does, I keep my hands off panels that want me to be a story. I don't follow whistles that get the pitch right a beat late. I don't open gates for anything that can text. In the steady voice the Blackout taught me, I say, keep the gates locked. For a long, thin moment, the room hums one note, like a zoo remembering its machines. A head leans near my left ear and practices the first half of Pour Don Tiu. And then the pipes remember water, the hour lets go of its borrowed number, and whatever was learning my keys, a half beat behind me chooses someone else, is night and leaves mine to daylight, and locks that mean it.
If you survived this far, leave your like to prove you are not afraid.